Yeah, so I'll just welcome anybody who else that might be joining and or coming on to the recording later. And if I haven't met you, my name's Kathy, and I'm been a longtime teacher at the Boulevard Club, and I'm super happy to be able to be continuing on Zoom with you all from home uh, on one of these last winding out days of this year. I'm sure we have a lot to digest. And so the practice that we'll be doing today, if you want to have a physical focus, it'll be on helping with elimination. The organs. We'll be doing some twists and a little bit of getting bonfire in the belly, so some core. And I want to wind it down really nicely though, with a couple of more restoring poses. So, and if you don't have any props, that's okay. But having using anything that's in your where you can grab from a couch or your bed. I've got oh, hi Vera. I'll just show you. This is for not for right now, but for once towards the end. So I just happened to grab. It looks like a bolster, but it's actually one of my couch pillows, and I have another firm bolster cushion that I sit on. So this would be towards the end of practice so that we have something that we can lie back on. And yeah, it'll be coming into something where we get the digestive juices flowing down. So, but I'll just give you a moment if there's anything around you that you want to have near in case that works out later. Otherwise, don't worry about it. So, and I'm not sure if you heard me, but I see you. I see you're there, Vera. So I'm super happy to know that you ladies are here with me live. And we are going to start lying down. Up to you whether you have anything underneath yourself or not. So if you have kind of been doing some of these things from home, then you might have a few ways that you make yourself comfortable. That's the main goal. Perhaps a little bit of a pillow or a blanket underneath the head. And you can have your legs just loose and long with the feet falling away from each other. Do a few, not windshield wipers, but just shaking out the legs. So from the thigh bones, let your feet start to swish back and forth. So you'll feel some movement across the backs of the heels, around the Achilles tendon, maybe some jiggling in the thighs. And then just let that all kind of slow down. You can wiggle your hips around and tuck your shoulder blades underneath yourself a little bit more so that you can come into this easeful resting posture. And today, let's let the hands come to the torso, somewhere along the torso. So it could be the belly, or maybe you have one hand over the chest or the heart there. Some place where you can make a connection with yourself very physically through the lungs. If your eyes are opened and you prefer, that's fine. Or let the eyelids drape. So we can begin to pay attention of what's here, bringing in some mindfulness to the moment. Just feeling the movement of the lungs as the oxygen comes in and the carbon dioxide moves out. Whatever it is that you might be feeling there in the hands, just allow that to be sort of a doorway in. Everything else becoming background. So you can still be aware of mental activity, of narratives, stories, of things that right now are in the past. And also there could be some anxiety or some anticipation about what may be coming in our practice or things that you have on your agenda for later. We'll just come back to feeling whatever is here in the movement of your lungs. And through the practice today, we'll be moving through some postures that help with elimination physically, some of the foods we've been eating, as well as mentally, emotionally. We'll do a 3-part breathing exercise. So start by just moving both hands down to the belly if they're not there already. This is the lower part of the lungs, just above the pelvis. And feel the breath moving into that area. Just see if you can kind of narrow it down a bit. Nothing needs to change in terms of the pace of your breath, although it may naturally start to deepen. Just breathing in and out through the nose, unless you have a cold or congestion, then don't even let breath be a focus because it'll probably be irritating. Just feeling something in terms of movement here in the lower lobes of the lungs, moving the fresh oxygen in and down and calming the nervous system. And then slide your hands a little further up the rib cage so they're more at where you actually can feel some ribs, little bones in there, and you could hold yourself at the waist with your fingers on the top ribs and your thumbs kind of wrapping around to feel the side ribs. Your elbows might go a little bit wider. And as you continue to breathe, just the soft ujjayi wave, a little bit of sound at the back throat as the breath is coming in and out through the nose. Just see if you can feel a bit of sideways movement, both on the expansion, your ribs moving into your fingers, and then shrinking a little bit of contraction as the carbon dioxide moves out. Good, and then let your hands move to your collarbone area or your chest. Just feeling the breath. Just see if you can move the attention to be a little more centralized in the upper lungs. And the hands are on the top of the chest, but maybe you can feel something in the upper back as well, pressing into the floor. Good, and then you can go back either having your arms at your sides or just spreading them, one hand to belly, one hand to upper chest, and take a few more breaths here, moving in 3 parts. So the belly expands and rises, then the ribs widen, chest lifts, and then chest starts to soften, ribs knit in together, the belly, a little bit of core. Following that cylindrical or vase-like container, expanding from the bottom, moving up to fill the top, and then working its way out from top to bottom.
front, back, sides, the entire lungs. Release your arms if they've been on your body and take a big stretch out and lengthen out. Reach the toes. Spread the legs a little bit wider. Maybe your feet come right off the mat. Take your arms a little wider so you've got a big star shape and you feel some space underneath the low back, puffing up there. And then hug the thighs in towards the chest and give a really tight squeeze there. Right away, let the knees move away on the inhale and then hug the thighs in on the exhale. Just pumping the digestive organs. Reach the knees away and then hug them in. Exhale, and one more time. Inhale. Exhale, give a squeeze. Stretch the left leg out, long towards the bottom of your mat. Doesn't matter if you point the toes or flex the foot, but just choose the position for that extended leg to start with, and draw the right knee a little over towards the right armpit. Give a bit of side to side movement with that thigh. It's kind of massaging in there the ascending colon. We'll circle the right ankle. So digestion starts in the feet, all the sensory receptors there, just squeezing the right knee in towards the right armpit now as you make a few circles there. If you have anything bothering in your lower back, then you could bend the left leg. And just play out with that foot, spread between the toes, point and flex. And then send that leg up towards the sky. It may not straighten, it probably won't. Tight hamstrings, lots of sitting. You could cradle your thigh with your hands if that's available, and just draw the chin down towards the chest and really press up through that heel. Let's take 3 breaths there, making some space in the hamstring for 2. And 1. Let's draw the chin towards the chest and start to bring your chest up a little bit. Float the left leg off the floor, just an inch or so. You can continue to hold onto this right thigh or reach the arms forward, or you might hold the back of the skull or neck if your head feels like it's straining the neck muscles at all. Let's take 3 breaths, reaching a little higher with the chest to exhale. Come back a little, inhale, and then exhale, reaching the chest up towards that thigh, and exhale 1 more time. Inhale, exhale, come back down, hug that thigh in, squeeze, and then stretch the full body out, lengthen, inhale. Let's hug the left thigh in and give it a squeeze, and then choose the position of your right leg, straight or with the knee bent. Make a decision with your right foot if you want it flex, toes to the face, or point the toes. If keeping that leg pretty active if it's straight. And then just swishing a little bit with your left thigh, back and forth across the left side of your abdomen, the descending colon. And then just pause there and circle out that ankle, just getting into the bottom of the foot, pressing out through the heel, point and flex the toes, and just wake up the sensory receptors that connect with the digestive organs. And then press that heel up towards the ceiling. If it's too much to reach for your leg, you can just let the leg reach up on its own. You want to keep the head and shoulders on the floor to start with, notching the chin down towards the chest. Good, take a breath in there. And then just hover the right leg a little bit, tuck the chin in and coming up. You can hold the thigh here to get yourself up just a little bit. Or hold the back of the skull, so we're not working in the neck here. And another option would be to reach the arms forward, and we'll pulse a few times here. It's kind of getting a bit of that belly bonfire. So exhale to lift the chest a little higher. Inhale, come back, not all the way, and then exhale. Inhale, send the ribs down towards the hips as you exhale. All the way back and down, and hug that thigh in, exhale. Stretch out again, lengthen, and make some space for the digestive organs. So lying down or when we're standing up, this is a great posture to just make room for all those processes to happen. And then we'll bring the knees just above the hips. So don't let them come in towards the chest now. So some more on the core. So press your hands into your thighs and shrink your belly down a little bit, or send your ribs down towards your hips as you press your hands into your thighs. But don't bring your low back all the way to the floor. Just feel that action of things starting to heat up there. Relax a little as you inhale and then press again on the exhale. Your shins are parallel with the floor or in that direction. Let's do 5 more. Relax on the inhale and exhale, press. Inhale, exhale, press. Inhale, 3 more. Press the thighs away, drop the belly. Deep breath in and then exhale. A little bit of a squeeze. Might be feeling some warmth. Inhale and exhale. And then bring the feet back to the floor. And crawl your fingertips down towards your heels. We're just going to peel the spine up a couple of inches, so not coming into a full bridge. You should have most of your upper back is still on the floor. And then we'll squeeze the bum cheeks to lift the hips a little higher. And then drop the hips down on the exhale. Keep the hips off the floor the whole time, and then squeeze the bum cheeks, little pulses, and drop down. Squeeze. You can breathe in whatever fashion and go at whatever pace here. We're just waking up the glutes and all the core muscles. Let's say we'll do another 10 seconds or so, just little squeezes and pulses. So you should feel something in the glutes and the hamstrings as you squeeze and lift and squeeze and lift. 3, 2, and 1. And then slowly bring it all the way back down. Stretch out into that big 5-pointed star again. Head, fingertips, toes reaching away from each other. And slide your hands behind your head. A little bit more on the core here. So we're going to take the right knee towards the left elbow. Coming into a twist. Inhale, open it up again. And then take left knee towards the right elbow. Exhale. Your legs are pretty wide apart as you go from side to side. Just wringing out the digestive organs. And let's do about 5 on each side. Just go at your own pace if it works for you to exhale through the twist. It's like that wringing out a cloth. Just bringing up the volume of that fire. 2 more each side. Shrinking the ribs down towards the hips. Come all the way back down. 1 more big stretch out. And then squeeze the right knee in towards the chest. Slide the left leg back so it's just long and kind of floppy. And we'll do 1 more thing here before we bring it up. So bring your right arm open wide and take your left hand to your outer right thigh. Start to guide your right knee towards the left just a little bit so the right hip lifts up. And that's an exhale there. And then come right back so your right hip comes down, your knee to ceiling. And then exhale, ring it out. A little more length for the spine. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale. So hopefully you didn't just have a big lunch. Inhale, center. Exhale, we'll do 3 more on this side. As your knee tracks to the left, you could look to the right. Inhale, center, and exhale, ring out the claw. 1 more time, exhale. Inhale, come back. Stretch it out. And right away to the other side, bring the left thigh in. Open up the left arm. Take your right hand to your outer left thigh and guide it over towards the right. So you're more or less onto your right hip. Come back to center, crawl your left fingers away, and then bring out the cloth. Exhale. Inhale, center. We're moving with the breath to facilitate moving things down the canal. And exhale, let's do 3 more. You could gaze over towards the left fingers if that feels okay for the neck. To bring this entire twist and more space along the spine. Last one, big exhale, maybe open the mouth. Then back to center, stretch out, lengthen, and just flop there for a moment. Let your hands come back to your belly, feel the breath in this area. Do a little bit of massaging, so take your hands or fingers and just start to do little circles in a downward motion through both sides of the colon, moving things in that downward direction. Just little massage, nothing strong, just kind of encouraging the movement for all the stuff. And if you take your fingers just underneath your ribs a little bit and do a little massage underneath that area too. It's kind of walking your fingers along the ribs really gently if you haven't done anything like this before, or if you just ate a meal, just skip it. Just kind of feeling out through those tissues. Okay, so let's hug the knees in, exhale, and make your way over to one side. And from there, we'll come up to hands and knees. And if you need some padding, if your floor is hard, you can bring something underneath your knees, a blanket or a towel. I have 2 mats here, so I'm okay for now. And come into a tabletop shape. Let's just start right away into a few cat and cow. Squeezing the shoulder blades together on the breath in, and then exhale, dropping the tailbone, tucking the chin, filling into the upper back. Draw the chest through on the inhale. And then exhale, belly comes up and back, doming in the upper back. Inhale there. And exhale, bring it all the way back into a child's pose. And you can have your knees wide or knees apart, just to make a little bit of room for the belly. And let's go through a sequence here. So look towards your hands. Shift forward so you're in more or less of a plank pose. So drop the hips down a little. And just lower down a couple of inches. Exhale, narrow the elbows. Press straight up, inhale. And then send it back into child's pose. We're also massaging the organs through this sequence. Come forward. Elbows bend a couple of inches to lower. Inhale, press up, and then exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale to lower. Inhale, straight lift up, and then exhale back. Let's keep going. Let's work with bringing in a little more of that fire. And you can kind of almost give yourself a bit of an oomph to come back to child's pose, to give that extra massage if you want, if you need. Just keep going with this for a little bit. Let's do 3 more. If you don't want to come all the way or don't want to go into the push-up, then just come forward and back. Emphasis on elimination. Just get the stuff out. Let's do the last couple with an open mouth. Exhale. Exhale. And then we'll come back to child's pose and walk the hands over towards the right. Just crawling the left fingers further away and taking it into some space in the left side of the lungs and that left digestive area as well. In the back and the front, sides. Spilling into that whole side. And walk the hands through center, breathing in and over to the second side. Sitting the hips back. Let's take 3 breaths there. 1, 2, and 3. Come back through center and come into a tabletop shape. Let's curl the toes under and press the hips up and back for downward facing dog. You can bend the knees, send your belly back towards your thighs and push away from the hands. And then come high up so your heels are lifted. Look forward, shift through to plank pose. You can bring your knees down if you prefer. You might have to have a little bit of a longer space between your feet and your hands so that we can just hinge it up and back again to downward facing dog. Exhale. Inhale, shift through plank, dropping the hips a little bit, but keeping the front body into the back body. And exhale, back, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, shift back. And then come forward again. Let's tap the knees down. Take another inhale and lower all the way to the ground. Let's stretch the legs back. Bring the fingertips wide and come into a baby cobra. And exhale, lower there. Come through again, pull the ground back. Elbows are lifted, exhale, lower. Inhale one more time. Exhale. Slide the hands back and press it up and back. Coming in through a cat. And then just back to a tabletop shape. So if your wrists start to bother you, you can do this on fists. We're going to stretch the right leg back and float the right leg up. And then stretch the left arm forward. And then kind of like when we were on our back, we'll take the left elbow towards the right knee and give it a little squeeze there. Don't go into a big cat. So your pelvis there is some rounding there, but try to keep it a little quiet. Reach on the lengthen and then squeeze left elbow towards right knee. Stretch it out, inhale. Exhale, squeeze. And let's do 3 more in and squeeze. Any pace. So it doesn't have to be my count or my breath. Half the breath for each direction. Good. Place the left hand back down. Keep the right leg up there. And you can look back for it. See if your hip has started to open and try to square it up again. And then just lower the toes towards the floor and then lift them up a little bit. They don't have to come up so high. And try to keep your chest reaching forward as you lower the foot. You can point or flex the foot. Doesn't matter. Just make a decision on that and do some little pulses there. Just lifting and lowering that leg for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then bend that knee. Good. And we'll take the knee out towards the right elbow. And just give that a squeeze. And then stretch it straight back. Let's have the toes turned out a little bit. And then bring that knee towards the right elbow. And then just kick it back. So the toes are turned out. So the hip's a little open for this one. Squeeze it in, exhale. Kick it back, inhale. And just do that a few more times. Squeeze and kick. Squeeze and kick. More for those digestive organs. Good. 3, 2, and 1. And then let's open up that hip a little bit more. You can bend the knee here and reach the heel over towards the left side of the mat for 3. Squeezing the heel towards the buttocks for 2. And 1. Stretch the leg out. Inhale. And bring that foot to the floor. So have the foot to the floor. You can kickstand your left shin a little bit and keep the right foot on the floor with that leg nice and long and lift it underneath the thigh. Your left hand, maybe just ahead of your shoulder, maybe off to the side a little bit. Reaching the right arm back. And then up towards the ceiling, a few circles with that right arm. Just keeping the body mostly in a sideways facing shape. Inhaling and exhaling half the circle. And changing direction. Good, last one, inhale. And then exhale, start to face forward again. Bring the right knee towards the nose. And then place the knees back down again and take it into a child's pose for 5. Just notice if you feel any difference, right to left, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's shift back through tabletop. Curl the toes under, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Make this a long dog again and shift forward to plank pose, breathing in. Knees can be down if you prefer, and pick the hips up and back, downward facing dog. It's like a hinge coming high on the heels and shifting forward. Bracing front body into back body, and then exhale, bring it back. Shift forward again on the inhale. Let's tap the knees down, exhale. Let's take another breath there, moving the breastbone forward and then slowly lower. Crawl the legs back a little bit longer, fingertips in line with the shoulders for a cobra, if that feels okay for the back. And exhale, lower. Pull the ground back towards yourself for a cobra. Hugging the elbows in, exhale, lower. Last time, breathing in. Exhale, lower. Hands come further down the rib cage so you can come back with some strength through table. And exhale right into a cat. Come back to neutral. Curl the left toes under. So you can do this on fists, or you can be even on the forearms. We're just going to lift that leg up. Just finding some level through the hips. And then if you are up higher, then we'll reach the right arm forward. And we're going to do the crisscross again. So right elbow to left knee. Lengthen out on the inhale and then squeeze on the exhale. Lengthen and squeeze. A bit of wringing out. Inhale. Exhale. 3 more. You can open your mouth to exhale. That bonfire, mine is going. Lower the right hand, level the hips again. Look back for that left leg. So the foot can be flexed or the toes can be pointed. We're just going to tap that down, keeping it quiet in the hips. Lift it a little on the inhale and exhale, lower. Keep going with that a few times, keeping the length in front of that iliopsoas. Good, and then just lift the leg up again, flex the foot, and turn the toes out a little. We're going to bring the left knee towards the left knee towards the left elbow and stretch it straight back, kind of a kick. So it's on a bit of an angle. Bring the left knee to the left elbow and then kick it back. Squeeze and stretch. Let's just pump that out. Should be feeling some fatigue in around the glutes. 3, 2, and 1. Good, so let's bend the knee now and start to open up that hip. So you get a bit of a release, hug the right hip in. And just take 3 breaths there, squeezing the left heel towards the right bum cheek. We'll start to square the hips again now and draw the left knee towards the nose. And then bring that knee down and take it again into a child's pose. And just check in with right and left side of the body. Whatever you notice, you notice. Not looking for any perfection, imbalance, space, whatever it is, just take in the reality of what's happening now, including the inner dialogue, the very normal judge or inner critic. Let's come back through tabletop on the inhale. Curl the toes under on the exhale and pick the hips up for downward facing dog. Let's take 5 breaths here. Seeing if we can just do that. Just let our attention be with whatever the sensations of breathing are. If you don't care for the breathing focus, then it could be just something, the entire posture or sensation, something that's in that realm, even the realm of hearing. Let's walk the hands back towards the feet and take a fold over the legs. The arms can dangle, or you might catch opposite elbows in front or behind, just depends on the tightness of your hamstrings today. Just letting yourself shake down, shake out, drain the activities of thinking right out through the top of the head. And take another inhale there. And exhale. Let's bend the knees quite a lot and roll it on up. And when you come up to standing, just have a look down at your feet and lift your toes. Feel your arches. Lay your toes back down. And then just start to bounce a little bit. So just without lifting the toes, so keep the weight in the balls of the feet and just lift the heels. Just bouncing the heels as a way of getting a massage into the bottoms of the feet. And again, just waking up all of the connections with the digestive organs. Other stuff's happening here. All of the collagen and fluids going through the fascial network, just through this kind of simple movement. And slow that down. Shake it out. Let's look at the feet again. Feel the arches. Reach the arms up. And come into mountain pose. So this is not dissimilar to where we were on our back when we were kind of just taking that big stretch out. So we're making room in this whole entire rib cage area, the home for all the digestive organs in the lower back, and the spleen and liver, and all of those automatic functioning systems. Just having our arms up like this. So if this is too much, then the arms might come out to the sides or in a cactus. If it just feels a little bit uncomfortable, then that's okay. Just stay with it. Dropping everything down and making some space for whatever needs to exit to get down that channel. Let's take 3 more breaths there. I'm going to catch the left wrist with the right hand and take it up and over towards the right. Exhale, come back to center and switch and take it up and over towards the left. And then bend the knees and start to take it in towards the floor, coming all the way around to the right and up. Inhale and then back and over to the left. Exhale. Through center, breathe in, just reach up the arms. Let's take the left wrist and bring it up and over towards the right. Exhale there. Inhale through center and exhale over towards the left.
Let's bring it over to the right again. Exhale, bend the knees and take that circle around, this time on the other side. Come all the way up on the left and over and back to the right. Exhale. And through center, open up the arms now and just fold over their legs. Let's do some half sun salutations. Lengthen the spine halfway, draw the belly in, and then exhale, let it go. And press into the feet, come all the way up, breathe in. And exhale right away, fold. Halfway lengthen. Keep a little bend at the knees if that helps to keep more space in the low back, and then exhale, release the chin to chest. Inhale, come all the way up. One more time, exhale, fold. Halfway lengthen. Bend the knees, exhale. Inhale, press up. Exhale, bring the hands to the heart and pause. Let's have the big toes come together and start to take a seat into Utkatasana. So big toes together, that's an option. You could have the feet hips width apart as well. The reason I'm suggesting the legs a little closer together is so that we can take this into a twist. So we'll take the left elbow to the outer right thigh. You can look at your knees and try to level them up so the left knee doesn't go too far forward. Pressing the palms together or making a fist with your right hand and pressing it into your left hand. So keep this focus on being able to breathe. There may be some shaking. Getting that squish in the organs again. So good for 3, 2, and 1. Come back to center. And the other side. If you need to take a break in between, go ahead. Otherwise, kind of squish the right elbow across. Bring your palms together. So we're moving the palms towards the heart. You could use a fist with your left hand if that feels better. For 3, 2, and 1. Come back to center and then inhale, come up. Exhale, fold over the legs. Halfway lengthen. And this time we'll step the right leg back. So the left foot staying forward in a lunge. And as the right comes back. And the left knee tracks over the left ankle. Let's drop the back knee down. And reach the arms up. So we're in a crescent lunge. And bring the hands to the front thigh. And draw that thigh a little bit longer. Move the flesh towards the knee. At the same time, pull back a little through the left hip crease. Maybe sit a little bit lower on the inhale. And then hollow the belly as you come back and try to find a bit of a rounding in your spine. It's not going to be much, but that's that sensation of filling in. Sit lower on the inhale. And then exhale, scoop the belly to come back. One more time, sitting down. Inhale, and then come back. So your legs are right angles, and the right arm can reach up. And take a side stretch on the exhale. And bring it back up a little on the inhale and exhale. We're making more space here again. One more time, breathe in and exhale. And come back through this time. And bring the right hand down and pick up the left knee. Move the right hand off of your mat or far out to the side. You can turn the fingers out a little bit here. Use your thumb in the left hip crease to draw that hip crease back as you wrap the right ribs under and around, reaching back. Circling that left arm around. I just realized what I missed on the other side, so we'll have to go back. Good, let's come back here. Let's just take it to a plank pose. And lower the knees, lower the belly. Inhale to a cobra or back to that gecko shape. And then exhale, lower.
Slide the hands up and back. Let's take it into that tabletop shape. Let's take the left leg up and back. So I just want to even things out here and turn the toes out. Wag the right shin off your mat a little as a kickstand and place the left foot down. Come to the fingertips of the right hand. Give yourself some height as you wrap the right ribs around and then reach back. Find the arch of the left foot, press the whole left foot down, and then left arm can reach up or reach forward. Good. Last breath here. Look to the floor. Bring the knees back. Then we'll curl the toes under for downward facing dog. Exhaling, let's take a few exhales through an open mouth, breathing in and let it go. One more time in and out. Come high on the tiptoes, breathing in and walk the feet towards the hands. Just take your time here. Lengthen halfway and then folding over the legs, exhale. Press into the feet, come all the way up, inhale. And exhale. Let's do the other side. Let's reach up, breathing in and fold over the legs, exhale. Lengthen halfway. Fold, exhale. This time the right foot stays forward and the left leg steps back. Right knee over top of the ankle, press out through the left heel and then bring that knee down. Just tap it down. Press down through the right foot and draw the right hip crease back in this low lunge. And then reach the arms up on the inhale. Exhale, bring the hands to that front thigh and draw that leg a little longer as the right hip crease moves back. Maybe sit a little bit lower as you breathe in. And exhale, draw back. Hollow a little bit, drop the tailbone. Sitting low on the inhale. And exhale, draw back. Inhale. Exhale, and then stay with the ribs knitting down towards the hips in a more broad and open posture across the chest. Left arm reaches up. Right thumb in the right hip crease, dropping that hip down as you take the side stretch over towards the right for 3, 2, and 1. Shift back through center. Bring your left hand down a little wider than your mat perhaps. Fingers turn out. You can pick up the back knee and start to wrap the left side of the ribs around. Maybe help with your hand to snuggle everything in there so you've got this side twist. And the right arm reaching back for 3, 2, and 1. Come back to center, hands on either side of that front foot. Press it up and back to downward dog. So you can take a break on your knees in child's pose, or if you're feeling like keeping a bit more of that heat going, then just shift forward to plank. Breathing in and lower to exhale. Take it through this vinyasa flow into a cobra. And let's meet in child's pose. You exhale for 3 breaths. Knees together, knees apart. You can make fists with your hands if your head is kind of floating up. Good. One more inhale. And exhale. Let's just snake it forward onto the belly. Have your elbows underneath your shoulders. You can make a gentle clasp with your hands. Draw your front length a little bit longer through and stretch your legs back. Coming into this version of Sphinx pose, which is just a more passive version of the back bends, cobras. The focus here not on a big upper back bend.
but rather on just getting that massage of the belly against the floor, the lungs. So you might walk your elbows a little further forward or hold your face in your hands. See if you can just rest here. Just letting nature do what it does. If you wanted to stay in this shape, that's totally fine. If you want to do a little more lengthening of the front of the hips, then you could rest your forehead palm on palm. Stretch the left leg back a little bit, float that off the floor. So keep your forehead on your palms and then start to shift over to the right hip. Pick up your left leg and reach it over towards the right, just a little bit. Let's point the toes. Take 3 breaths into that side of the lungs. Exhale, come back through center. You might notice in center, again, any right, left side, more dominant, heavy, or long. And then let's do the other side. So stretch your right leg back, point the toes, lift it a little from the front of your hip, and then bring it up. Bring some more weight into the left hip, so you're doing a bit more of a facing the side with your hips. Just let your right shoulder be heavy towards the floor. Back to center. If you're still in the Sphinx pose, let's just start to make your way back into a child's pose. Sitting back towards the heels to get that nice rounding of the spine. Or you could just sit on your bum if you don't feel like being on your knees anymore. And give yourself that sort of a hug. As we slow things down here and move into some longer held, more restorative postures, if you've taken things off, sweaters or socks, you might put those back on. Just lean back and give your legs a bit of a shake out and some drumming. And so let's bring in, so if you do have some cushions around that you can support yourself with, I would recommend to have the head higher than the heart. So the head would be back. I've got a firmer couch pillow and then a bolster underneath that. If you don't have that stuff, don't worry about it. We'll lean back and we'll separate our legs and drop the knees left and right. We'll bring the knees all the way over to the left and sit as though you're right sidewise up beside those pillows. I'll show you something different if you're not going to do this one. When we're in the studio, we use the bolsters that are there. So we're walking the hands on either side of that bolster, tucking the left hip under, and then laying the chest down so it's facing the back of the mat, and then just turning to look in the direction of the knees. So if you don't have the pillows, then it'll just be the more traditional, you're lying on your back, or you can be side lying actually to start with, have your knees towards the left, and then start to spread your chest towards the ceiling and your arms wide, looking in whatever direction is more comfortable for your neck. Okay, so choose one of those. Take about a minute on each side. If you've got enough of the cushions that it would feel right to try looking away from your knees, you can do that. You can keep your knees pretty close together so it's not meant to be a big hip stretch. If you're finding, as is totally normal, to become in these stiller poses, very noisy with the mental activity, just to know there's nothing wrong in that. We're just actually more awake and alert to noticing what's happening and to be cultivating the skills to have some more space to hold it all, both in the physical body and the mental body. And for sure, you can use an anchor to, if you find there is a lot of agitation, getting pulled into stories, then just bring it back to something solid that's here, the feeling of the ground, the breath. Let's take another inhale on this side. And exhale. Press the hands down. If you're lying on your back, you can just come back to center and set up for the second side. Otherwise, slowly walk around to face forward. And flip the knees over the other way. I'm just moving, so I'm more camera friendly. Set up your cushions. Sit with your right hip close to the bottom cushion, and then walk your hands on either side so you get a good revolve. You can also just be upright here. You don't have to come down. It's a great one. Or if you do have enough support there to come down, and it's kind of like you're in your bed. It's awesome that we can put our body into shapes that bring so much benefit. And just flushing things out, rest and digest. All those great twists and core work. And the fire now has somewhere to go. If you're lying on your back, you can just start to walk your knees back to center. If you're using the cushions, press your palms, peel your heart nice and long towards the back, and then walk around. Just again, give your legs a shake out, move around, do anything that you need to do to kind of finish up and even out. If you're lying on your back, you can give your knees a squeeze. Since we've got the pillows set up already, for those of you that do, from here it can be sort of a transition just to putting your seat up close to the pillows, or you can be further down, just depends on your back. And then having a lie down for our final pose. You can have your knees together with the feet wide. And so your head and your torso are in alignment in a reverse plank sort of shape. So with the knees bent, you've got lots coming down into the digestive organs from both directions, just feeding in the blood vessels. You could also have the soles of your feet together and the knees falling open. That's nice if you have extra pillows to tuck underneath there. Soften the gaze or close the eyes. If you don't have the pillows, then just you're on your back again, just as we did at the beginning. Notice what it is that you're feeling now. If there is anything
that's obvious or subtle that has changed. And the intention is just to be aware, to notice, not for it to be any particular way.
I was speaking with my mom this morning. She has dementia. She was having a good day and she was just relating something that was like a dream for her, but one of the things she said, I had to write it down. She said, it's hard when you want things to work out perfectly, but they don't, and you don't know how to make them. So that's so resonant that we have that always kind of striving or doing the cattle prod to get somewhere or improve ourselves or get things done. So we can achieve a lot of amazing results by just being and letting that drift away. We're getting to our official closing time, so I welcome you to continue on if you're feeling like you can rest for longer. If you need to end your practice or wish to transition to a seat to close with me, just take your time and spend a little time over on one side. But no rush if you're not done. If you are still resting, great. If you're sitting up, either way, just taking a moment to acknowledge each other's presence and good wishes. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to continue to practice with this Boulevard Club family from our homes, but in some way together. May you be well. May you be safe. May you have ease. May you be happy. Thanks, everyone.